This reminds me of a video game character, but I can't quite remember who.
Welcome to Reviews on the Run.
What the hell happened to you, man?
Today on Reviews on the Run, we celebrate the return of Rayman, and the rabbids show up alive and kicking. So get ready to discover the origins and start shaking your booty. So enough with all the killing and all of the carnage and all that. Let's get a little more colorful. Let's get a little more kid-friendly,
Let's get a little more French, as we say. Here's Stephen Raju with a look back at the Rayman franchise.
Nintendo has Mario, Sega has Sonic, and if we're looking at mascot characters, I guess Ubisoft's would have to be Rayman, our friend with the no arms, no legs, just hands and feet. Adorable mascot character who's been kicking around since the mid-90s. It is Rayman's time. Rayman's coming back. We are going to go back and look at the origins of Rayman before the guys talk about Rayman Origins.
Very clever, sir.
So back in the mid-90s, Rayman was born. He is the brainchild of Michel Ancel, the creator who would go on to create Beyond Good and Evil.
Who could possibly be interested in that kind of thing?
Let's figure out what makes Rayman such an enduring character.
Well, this is one of the weird things because the gameplay, while they're all sort of platformers, he's kind of been used for all sorts of things.
In a very Mario-like way.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, started off side-scroller. Rayman 2 was the 3D, which, oh my god, how many times has Ubisoft ported that game?
I believe it's available for every system in existence, plus 15 that don't exist yet, plus you can play it on your fridge.
Yay! Rayman!
Because, I mean, the new Rayman 3DS was Rayman 2 again. So, and you know,
They get their mileage out of Rayman.
They do, you know what? And he's great. He's a lovable character, really clever. I mean, amazing how well he does without arms or legs.
Well, this is it. That character is super cute. Rayman's very endearing. There's a lot of self-referential humor in the games. They kind of poke fun at the genre. There's a little bit of fourth wall breaking there, but
good visual gags.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. The games visually have always been really great. The design has been fantastic. The animation has sort of been always ahead of its time, and I think we're going to see that with Rayman Origins as well. From what little we've glimpsed of the game, the animation looks out of this world. But the platforming has always just been super spot on. There was something about those games that the levels were just super tight. The design was fantastic. Animation, music, it was just kind of the whole package for most of the games.
But I do think a weird thing is happening because it seems to me like the rabbids are taking the spotlight these days.
It was a spin-off series that's become more successful than the original.
Yeah. Rayman's cast of characters like Globox and all those other guys, I mean, no one cares about them. It's all about the rabbids these days. And even Rayman, seriously, like he's taking some second billing now to the Rabbids series of games.
Well, the Rabbids have dropped the Rayman name. I think it was a couple years ago that was the last time we had a Rayman Raving Rabbids game. Now they're just the Raving Rabbids. They are kind of their own stars. Rayman's had sort of the 4 or 5 core games, Rayman, Rayman 2, then the Hoodlumed Havoc. And
the 5 other games.
And then all the spin-offs and all the weird kind of side-scrollers, the Rayman Bowling, the Rayman Arena, Rayman Golf. I mean, it really is the sonification or the Marioification of this character. But the core games, the Rayman, Rayman 2, and those games have all been really tight, especially the first 2, because I think those are the ones that Michel Ancel was most involved with. And the design is just, I mean, it holds up to this day.
Yeah, absolutely, and you can see Ubisoft still trying to hold it up to this day.
Well, no, to give them credit, I almost think, I mean, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I almost think like his popularity is bigger in Europe. I don't see him being as big over here. I mean, people don't dress as Rayman for Halloween. They dress as Mario, they dress as, Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't see a lot of Rayman
I think you're
costumes.
right. He does have that Rico Suave type of thing, right? That Euro Gino thing.
He's like Euro trash Rayman.
He doesn't need arms. He doesn't need legs. He can do it all.
Oh, Rayman, we still love you. We bag on you a little bit, but we do have a love.
I do think it is kind of crazy how long it's been since there's been sort of a proper Rayman game. I think Origins has a fair bit of the weighted expectations that it has to live up to now.
Yeah. But it's also going to bring a whole new generation into Rayman. The game has been kind of sporadic, and I don't think they've really hit their peak in the last outing, so I hope that this is a return to, it's kind of a Rayman reboot. It's the Batman Begins of Rayman. And it's Origins, right? I hope this will be a return to Rayman's, roots, and I hope we'll see a whole new, it's franchise, I guess, a whole new reboot of Rayman platforming games. Because I would love to give Rayman some time. I don't think I've given him enough love over the years, but I'm ready to love Rayman. I'm ready to love.
Whereas I'm ready to move on to the rabbids. I'm kidding. I love the rabbids. I would like to see a bit more out of Rayman. I think this was a very strong franchise, and it really does kind of need a dose of something good and new. And hopefully Origins will be that.
Hopefully Origins will be that. I guess we'll find out shortly.
Hands and feet will continue to defy the laws of gravity right after this.
Sounds kind of morbid when you put it that way.
I know, it really does.
But he's not.
It's not at all.
Still to come on Reviews on the Run, Rayman jumps dimensions, make the escape a little greater, go back to the roots, and wreak havoc through time. But coming up next, kick up a storm. Man, who would have guessed that these rabbits would be so persistent?
I
They've
know.
been on all kinds of platforms and in different types of games. Now we've got a Kinect version. It's called Raving Rabbids Alive and Kicking.
Yeah.
How'd you like
I
it?
almost feel like I need to call an exterminator or maybe put down some traps around my house.
But it's
or
not the rabbits.
Spray some rabbits,
I
be
think
gone.
You might want to exterminate your Kinects.
I do feel like the rabbits have kind of worn out their welcome a little bit. They were so cute and endearing. We all felt like we discovered them
They
a little
still
bit.
are when they're kind of cheering you on when you're making muscle poses and stuff, and they're trying
They
to.
have their moments.
They're charming. I like the rabbits.
The thing that I like about them, and somehow, some way, the WarioWare series of games went away. But I feel like there's an opening now. There's an opportunity for games like this to occupy that space, and for games to sort of have their artful moment, their silly, irreverent moment.
Yeah.
And I like that about the rabbits. And there are moments in here that are incredibly charming,
And
that
it
are
fits
incredibly
with
funny.
the platform. I think the issue that we have, and it's pretty much similar to the minigame issue that we started to have with the Wii, is that there's been a lot of these types of dance and pose and mug and jump around kind of experiences for this Kinect machine already, and this doesn't feel new. It feels silly and superfluous,
You feel
and
silly.
you're just doing a lot of the same stuff. I mean, kids might dig this kind of thing.
This is pretty much all the Kinect can do, or at least as far as we can tell, this
And
is pretty much all it can do.
There's still a delay. I'm sorry, Microsoft, but we keep trying to play these games and we keep trying to see that one-to-one real-time connection. I still keep moving my arm, and then a split second later, my arm moves on screen, and
It's true.
it
He's not wrong.
takes you out of the thing. I mean, even navigating menus and stuff is frustrating.
It's so
and
awkward, and you just sort of miss the analog control of being able to pick up a controller and just
Right.
immediately have that response on screen to what you're doing.
And the games aren't fulfilling enough that I would want to control to play these things
No,
anyways.
for
It's
sure.
not like the Kinect ruined the mini games here.
I don't know who these games are for. I don't know who Kinect's for. I mean, for kids coming off Ritalin, who is going to enjoy
I really
this?
want to hear from Kinect's consumers out there. I would love some more creative, inventive, genre-bending Rabbit games, but this ain't it. What are you going to give Rabbids Alive and Kicking?
I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10, Vic.
Gets a 3 from
Why
me.
do you always have to be one better than me?
I'm a little bit better. So the Rabbids didn't fare so well in the Kinect, but let's take a look back and see how they did on a platform puzzler, sort of traditional type of game.
Here's Stephen Raju again.
So regular viewers of the show know that we often bag on minigame collections for the Wii.
Because they're often terrible.
Yes, they are. However,
I love them rabbits.
and today we're looking at Raven Rabbids Travel in Time.
I don't know what they do that makes these games so different from other ones, but they know how to make minigame collections that are fun, I mean, and inventive,
Well,
and personality.
You can tell that there's love and care
Yeah.
put into this series and by the people who made it. Like, I mean, just the small things. For instance, sort of the reverse psychology in the direction of this game. It was a nice little joke, but again, just sort of this whole package is pretty great.
So the basic backstory here is that the rabbits have their time-traveling washing machine. It's ended up in a museum, but through the museum they can go and visit different periods in the past by jumping into paintings. It's actually a little weird. It's a little surreal, but it's not so much that Ubisoft is reinventing the wheel. I mean, these are all kind of familiar-ish minigames, but they put such a different sort of coat of paint on them, and there's so much personality. And the rabbits themselves, I love the rabbits.
And I think that the other thing that you have to say with this is that the controls, for the most part, are quite good. I really like the flying controls. I thought that they worked really well.
That's something we've never seen, I don't think, in a Wii game before. We're using the nunchuck and the Wii remote basically as wings.
Yeah.
And as you hold them out and adjust the angle of your wings, that adjusts the angle of your flying guide. I thought that was really a really cool idea.
That worked really well. And these games really come alive when you don't play them solo, obviously. And it's just a lot of fun. There's craziness. I mean, the other thing with the platforming is your two rabbits sort of attached by toilet paper, which is Again, totally silly, but you know, when you have two people controlling them, if you're not going the same way, it turns into sort of a little bit of a tug of war, which is a lot of
It's
fun
really
too.
cool, especially when you're trying to cooperatively race through these environments together. And it takes some communication and some cooperation. And the series has got sort of a toilet humor to it, right?
Yes, it does.
All the toilet paper, your main weapon most of the time, are you shooting toilet brushes. But there are so many companies out there, as you and I know all too well, that put out these minigame collections that are so devoid of personality. They're basically...
Controls don't work.
Yeah, we've played so many bad minigame collections, as you say, that we should probably be exempt from, I don't know, community service. If we ever get arrested, we can just say, hey, you know, we actually played a lot of these games and they were terrible, so we can get out of jail free card. But this is a great collection of games. All the Raving Rabbit games have been a lot of fun. And this one, again, mechanics we've seen in games before, but just dressed up in a way that's really kind of fun and cool.
I really like this. I think I'm going to actually give this an 8. What do you think?
I think it's an 8 as well.
Reviews on the Run Q&A time. Victor Lucas, what exactly are the rabbids anyway?
They're the busiest creatures in all of video games right now.
Funny,
They're in every video
I
game.
thought they were just some inbred hillbilly bunnies.
They might be that too.
Still to come on Reviews on the Run, Rayman gets all touchy-feely and platforms back to his origins. But coming up next, jump off the screen.
And with the 3DS out, now we get to take a look at all the games that they have in the opening lineup. We're taking a look at Rayman 3D. Now, I gotta say, I love this game.
Yeah?
Back in 1999 when I played it on the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I played it on the Dreamcast.
Isn't this Rayman 2?
It is Rayman 2. That's exactly what this is. Now, it doesn't say it on the box. It just says Rayman 3D.
Yeah.
But here we are. We're telling you guys it's Rayman 2. Now, that might not necessarily be a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Because Rayman 2 was, when it came out, kind of a great game.
Yay! Rayman!
For people who haven't played this game, you know, you play Rayman. He has no arms or legs.
Nope.
And in this game,
Or neck.
he can still get around. You know, you start off, you've been captured on a pirate ship.
Of course.
You break out of the pirate ship, and then what you have to do is find 4 masks scattered across the land
4 crazy looking masks.
to stop the pirates. It's very old school. I mean, like within 5 minutes of playing this game, you feel like you might as well be playing Mario 64 or just one of these old school games. It's like very classic.
It's exactly the same. The 3D in it is cool, but I was, you know, getting into the fact, and I was like, they could have given me a little bit more than Rayman 2 from 1999.
Well, yeah, they don't give you anything more than
No,
that.
it's
I mean,
the game.
well, let's talk about the 3D here. You know, if you use your little Nintendo DS slider, you can kind of make the little 3D action happen. And
There
there
it
were
is.
moments when I thought in the game it really served the game well and worked well because
Like
you would
surfing
sort of
around, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you could sort of see kind of bullets passing by you when you jumped over them. It made it a little bit easier
Yeah.
for me. But then on some moments, it felt like it was just wedged in there, and you'd get weird little pop-ups of like a plant obscuring the camera the wrong
Yeah.
way. And so I found
Some weird
myself
camera
kind of
angles.
going back and forth. I would have it on 3D, then I'd take it off 3D, then I'd put it back.
That's pretty much how I utilize my 3DS anyway. I was like,
Yeah.
I play it a little bit and then I turn it off. It looks okay in 3D, but I just don't see why
Yeah.
they needed to come out with this game. Instead of just give me a brand new Rayman for the 3DS. That'd have blew my mind. I'd have been like, it's been a while since Rayman's not been hanging out with the rabbids.
Yeah, no.
Give him his own 3DS game.
And I think that's what people initially thought they were going to get.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
what
think
I
they're
thought.
going to get when you buy it. You go, oh, I'm going to get a brand new Rayman game. It's been forever since I've seen one. You're not getting that. Now, the game itself, you know, you have like a little ball that you can kind of throw out, which is one of the only weapons that you really use.
Yeah.
And you do your typical platform jumping. You have some levels where you do some sliding down,
sliding,
inclines
yeah.
and stuff. But this is pretty standard 3D platforming fare. That doesn't make it a bad game, but you're right, it makes it really disappointing. And if you didn't know any better, you would think you're getting a real new Rayman. You're not. It's an old game. They should have said it on the box. That is bad marketing.
It is. It made
Unfair.
me sad because I was expecting Rayman 3DS as a brand new Rayman experience. And what I got was a 10-year-old rehash.
What's that worth to you?
It's about a 6.5.
All right, I agree with you. 6 out of 10 for me. It's definitely worth a shot.
Our celebration of all things Rayman continues with a look at how he did on the iOS platform.
Here's Sean and Marissa. They're standing by in Toronto.
Rayman was one of the first heroes to enter the 3D platforming world back in the days with the Nintendo 64. We're talking Rayman 2, The Great Escape, now ported to the iOS device. There's not a lot going on here in terms of visual pizzazz, is there? They could have done a lot more by remastering the textures or fixing things up a little bit. There's lots of problems with collision detection in this one. Things that we would have really forgiven back in the day of the Nintendo 64 because we hadn't seen a lot of 3D platformers, but now a lot of games from that era, especially the 3D kind, the platforming kind, tend to not hold up because of these issues. You're fighting with this really unresponsive analog stick that's on the screen.
The whole idea is that when you press forward a little bit, Rayman will walk, and then if you press forward a lot, he'll run. But we don't have that tactile feedback, so it's impossible to judge what exactly we're doing.
You need to have that precise control. You need to be able to jump on a platform and know just how much distance you have in front of you. He can jump, he's got his helicopter hair, he can throw these flinging
orbs,
glowing orbs. I could not hit an enemy to save my life.
No, but the thing is you have unlimited orbs, so that's all you do is just keep pressing that virtual button.
Spam the orb button in this one and you'll eventually hit something.
We need to stop sometimes. We can't just keep playing it. There's a lot of levels in this one, and just stopping, if you exit the game, you can't jump back into where you once were. You have to start all the way over again. You end up being in the main menu again and having to traverse back to where you were, which is really frustrating, especially when I'm sure you suffered a lot of failure just getting to that spot. So why would I want to do that all over again?
Another thing about the visuals here, and I don't mean to harp on it too much, but it looks like I may as well have just taken Vaseline and smeared it on the front of my iPod and then played a normal game, because that's just how blurry and crappy it looks. So you've got very few games from that era that actually do still hold up. Super Mario 64, I think, being one of them. Rayman 2, The Great Escape, definitely not one of them. Marissa, what are you giving Rayman 2, The Great Escape?
I unfortunately have to go lower than I wanted to. I'm going to give this one a 4.
I'm giving this one a 2.5 out of 10.
I absolutely loved Rayman 2 when I played the game originally. It doesn't really work for me that well on the iOS platform.
You know what?
Awesome game.
I played it on the Dreamcast. Remember, that was one of the launch titles, I think.
Excellent game. We'll be right back. Coming soon to reviews, Link takes flight with Skyward Sword. Step into the ring for a body slam. The Saints are back and taking over. And tomorrow on the show, we get all dressed up with the Tanuki suit. Coming up next, Rayman does what he does best.
Welcome back to Reviews on the Run. Today we're taking a look back at Rayman and the Rabbids and all of the things that Michel Ancel has created over the years.
Apparently Ubisoft wants to take a look back too, because they made a game called Rayman Origins.
You know, it's been a long time since Rayman got his own brand new game, Jose.
Yeah, God, he's been around for a long time, though.
He has, and they've been focusing on all these Rabbids. You got all the Rabbit games. But enough with the Rabbids. Let's get back to the OG Limbless Star.
Like an Origin Tale, maybe?
Maybe an Origin Tale. How about Rayman Origin?
It's that typical sort of up to 4 player style that the new Super Mario Brothers had.
Yeah, kind of co-op, a drop in, drop out.
Drop in, drop out,
that.
which is always good to have. Yeah. And you get to play as Rayman and his buddies, and you get to go on an origin adventure, if you will. I don't really understand how it's an origin, but
that's what I was gonna say. It doesn't really tell you where Rayman came from. That whole origin story thing, I never really kind of got on board with. But what the game managed to do was tell a story, you know, in a really old school way. This is an homage to great old school platformers.
Definitely.
You know, you don't have any voice acting. You just have some text.
There's some babbling.
Yeah, a lot of babbling. Yeah, but that's kind of like that's the style, right? It's like an old throwback to you know, old games. It reminded me of Earthworm Jim. It reminded me of Ren and Stimpy. It reminded me of all these old, slightly creepy, animated things. You know.
Going through the level when you're trying to gather all the looms out there, you know, and you have to, there's a special one that sort of doubles the amount of every loom that you get, and you're trying to collect them all. That is where that sort of carrot on a stick feature comes in, and you're just like, I gotta keep playing. Maybe if I do this fast enough, I can get to this one and I get to this one. That's where, you know, it keeps you coming back for more.
Yeah.
Playing as the different color glow box.
Well, you do want to play through each level more than once, because it's really hard to reach the kind of max on the first run. I mean, I tried a couple of these levels, you know, 5, 10, 15 times, and I still wasn't able to get all the looms on them. You know?
Then you can go through it again. There's a time trial mode that sort of gives you a par time that you have to beat. That's insane.
Yeah.
Some of those are just absolutely bananas.
I had such a blast playing through the game, and I think it's because they nail it in all these little subtle ways. I mean, obviously the visuals are sumptuous and they just look amazing. But even
Scrumptious.
they are. They're
pretty good.
They're
You can
cromulent.
You can taste the
They're cromulent.
credulousness.
I mean, it's a beautiful game. But even beyond that, they really dialed in the controls, and that's something you don't think about when you're playing a great platformer. This is one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a game all year. And then if you play a level really well and zip right through it, you're almost creating music as you're playing it, and it's just embedded. You don't even think about it.
It creates awesome music, creates happiness, and creates good times. It's a success.
So yeah, I mean, I was really amazed by the level of care they put into this game. This is, there's so many great games coming out this season. You've got Batman and Uncharted and Skyrim. It's unfortunate that they're releasing Rayman Origins in the middle of this, because I think a lot of people are going to miss it.
It's definitely a not miss game if you're, done with all those other Uncharteds and Modern Warfare, Battlefield games.
Nothing else coming out this year.
Try it on those games. Rayman Origins gets an 8 out of 10.
I agree with you. I love this game. 8.5 out of 10. You guys got to play it.
Today on the show, Scott and I kick things off with Rabbids Alive and Kicking. This is another one of your standard Connect minigame compilations, and the Rabbids have definitely overstayed their welcome. Sean and Marissa made a great escape with Rayman 2. Tough controls and bad visuals make this one game that needs to be locked up. Finally, Jose and Ben went back to the roots with Rayman Origins. It's fantastic to see a standalone Rayman game after so many years, and with the stunning visuals, this is just a fun, classic platformer. And that's why Rayman Origins is the Rogers must-buy of the day.
And that brings us to the end of our all Rayman special.
Very fun.
He's had more ups and downs over the years than Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, come on.
He's
You
been
can't
in and out
compare
of
those
rehab.
two.
No,
don't put Lindsay Lohan next to Rayman.
He's had some good games, but he's not been consistent.
Rayman's pretty pure. Lindsay Lohan, not so much. Yeah, listen, if you want more reviews, you can go to our website, reviewsontherun.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter, Reviews on the Run, one word. We're also on Google Plus now, too. This is Scott C. Jones on Twitter.
What aren't we on? This is Victor_Lucas on Twitter.
We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.